I know why you're actually here. You just want free money. Well, good thing is, I can give that to you. Use the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout, and you will get a free $20. Make sure you get yourself to a game now. What is going on, everyone? The Flyers give us dreadful hockey. That's right. They just put together a display that reminded me of the Dave Hakstol era as they fall 3-1 to the Calgary Flames in Alberta. There was an empty net involved, so it was a 2-1 game late. Who the hell cares? The only thing that matters is a fat L in the loss column. Here's what bothers me. No energy. They looked lethargic. It was as if they didn't even want to be out there on the ice. So many icings over and over and over again. And one thing Keith Jones even stated on the broadcast was, yeah, the defense sent it down the ice, but when you take a look at the big picture here, no one was on the same page. The forwards weren't getting in position to give the defensemen outlets. And coming from a stay-at-home defenseman in my prime, there was nothing worse. And that's why we rimmed the puck for you forwards. But seriously, the whole team was clearly off, and they were not on the same page whatsoever, and it showed. Shane Gostisbehere with a horrendous hockey game once again reminded me of the Dave Hakstol era version of Shane Gostisbehere. I don't know if he's overthinking things. I don't know if he's scared and worried and doesn't want to make a mistake. I don't know, but Shane Gostisbehere had a terrible performance. This power play as a whole looked awful. How many times are we going to try to get into the zone and fail? The zone entry was bad. The creativity offensively was abysmal. And I know what you're thinking. Well, think of all the travel that they've been on. Sure, I know that they've been traveling all the time. I know they've been leaving different time zones and all over the place. I get all that. But guess what doesn't care about that? The standings. The standings don't care. There's no asterisk next to it and say, well, they traveled a lot this game. No, we didn't get the 2 points. That bothers me. We're also playing a team that is good. Like, we played the Chicago Blackhawks. We beat them. We played the New Jersey Devils. We beat them. Vancouver, I didn't get a chance to do a game recap because the game was so late and I had work at 5 in the morning. Ew, I know. I don't want to talk about it. So I didn't get a chance to put up my thoughts on that game. They battled back. You're in Vancouver. We pretty much should have won that hockey game, but Markstrom stood on his head in that third period. We got a point, okay. But my point here is we played a good team on the road, and we looked lost. The first 3 games of the season where we went 2-0-1, was that because we played teams that weren't as strong as the top teams in this league? Well, only time will tell because we have a back-to-back and play Edmonton tomorrow, who was a fantastic hockey team. And Connor McDavid's playing well. James Neal is scoring goals left and right. They got a good team right now that's playing hot hockey. So it's a real test. And Brian Elliot played today, which makes sense. And I don't think Brian Elliot had a bad game whatsoever. He honestly somewhat kept us into this game late because he was making saves later in this game that kind of helped the Flyers surge a little bit there and kept us involved, which was what you really asked for out of a backup. Now, Carter Hart is the promise, right? He's the promise. He's the kid that's going to be taking majority of the start. So with a backup goalie, if he gives you the type of night that he gave us tonight, well, that's what you ask out of him. With that being said, though, I hated the first goal that he allowed. He got hit by our own defenseman. He flopped a little bit, threw his body out there to try and draw, I guess, goaltender interference, and they scored instantly, and just like that, the Flyers had to play down. I hated that out of Brian Elliott, but everything else was solid. We do this thing where, and it's only 4 games into the season, I understand that. And I also understand that in an 82-game season, there are going to be stinkers, right? When football season is involved, and when it's football season, everyone overreacts to Sixers games, Flyers games, because you're used to that 1 of 16 mentality. Well, there's 82 games. I know that there's going to be a stinker, but it seems like a common theme right now that we're doing this good old fight back, and it reminds me of the Eagles, like slow start the last 2 games, but hey, they'll fight back. That's great, but how about we figure it the hell out so we don't have to always fight back and we can find ways to maybe dominate the full time. We're off to a decent start this season, I know. But this game bothered me. I hated the way they played. Alain Vigneault had to throw out all these different lineups and different lines later in the game because he was trying to create some energy. No one's getting going at the top of our list here besides Travis Konecny. Claude Giroux's not getting going offensively. Jake Voracek isn't. JVR, I already mentioned him earlier in a video here throughout the season where what is his role on this team? The top guys are not flowing with points. Travis Konecny is, and he had an assist to Matt Niskanen there in the third period with 15 minutes left to cut the lead in half. It was a 2-1 hockey game after TK with a nice pass to Niskanen, who just rocked a one-time clap bomb there in the high slot. We just didn't have enough to really find a way to squeak another goal in there and force overtime. And we didn't deserve to even force overtime, really. We got outshot 38-22. I think we looked lost defensively. We were running around, no structure. I wonder what Alain Vigneault is going to do, because in that Vancouver game, he actually sat Jake Voracek. He sat him on the bench. And that's a guy who's holding his players accountable, right? And I like that. This performance is so unacceptable. I wonder what Alain Vigneault is going to do with this type of loss. Who's going to sit next game? Who's going to be out of the lineup? Is he going to make a statement? Is this a game where you say, all right, fellas, listen, we play tomorrow night, so you better put it behind you because we play tomorrow? Is it to that degree? Because it's a quick turnaround, screw it, forget it, all right, let's move on? I can't imagine, because it was that bad. If this was Dave Hakstol behind the bench, I would assume that they wouldn't really discuss it and they would move on to the next hockey game. But the way that I've seen Alain Vigneault coach this squad, this is going to piss him off. He's going to lose sleep tonight. A lack of focus. Those icings were embarrassing. And the Flames were scoring off of those. They scored off one in the first period. It was a kicking motion, though, out of Sean Monahan, so they took the goal away. But because we iced the puck, the Flames ended up winning a draw and making things happen. Then in the second period, for their second goal, another icing occurred, and the Flames won the face-off. Giordano with a nice move to the middle there. It gets deflected. It goes in. But because of icings, the Flames were able to score. Come on. You can't ice the puck like that many times. I think I counted 6,852 different times. Where do we go from here? We got to bounce back. And going to Edmonton, I know it's a quick ride, right? In terms of all this travel we've had, it's a quick ride to Edmonton. The Oilers are better than the Flames right now at this moment. All right? It's going to be tough. It's going to be a hostile environment. That city blades Edmonton Oilers like we do the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a ride in that building. Like I said, they're playing hot hockey. We got to come prepared. And maybe Carter Hart being in the net is a spark plug for the boys, and he's going to be our starter, so it shouldn't be anything different. But because we know he's the promise, maybe that has the team with a different energy. I don't know. I'm just spitballing and looking for something that maybe help this team tomorrow play a better hockey game. Because if they come out and play a similar game that they played today, we're going to be in trouble. We got to find ways on the power play to get into the zone and actually set up and create opportunities. We have to. One thing I did notice out of Kevin Hayes, though, he had this filthy move. I thought we were going to tie the game up with it. He was coming down the left side. He put it between the defenseman's skate. He used his body to maneuver and cut across and almost had it there by the blue paint in the crease. I was really hoping he would have pulled that off. It was a really nifty move out of him. And to see him go up against Johnny Gaudreau, who were both BC Eagles together, I thought that was interesting, because teammates for a while and getting to compete out at the NHL level, that's just got to be something very entertaining to do. So, listen, with that being said, clearly I'm disappointed. I think the decor was bad. Specifically, Shane Gostisbehere stood out to me, and he's concerning. What is he? What is Shane Gostisbehere? He's a question mark. He is. I was in the mindset of we should try and trade him during the offseason. See what we can bring in. We didn't do that, and I was okay with that. I was okay with keeping him as well. It was one of those I understand both decisions. But he doesn't look so hot right now. He looked good during training camp. Alain Vigneault did like him then, but today it was on display what we saw last season where he was in a monstrous slump. He could be overthinking everything. He could be worried. He could be, so focused on not making a mistake that it's taking him out of his own game. But I mean, what are you going to do? Am I supposed to feel bad for him? Like, you got to figure it out. You're a professional athlete, right? You got to find a way. We got to be better. We signed Chris Stewart, by the way, and he's this guy, this grindy guy. He has a type of game that no one on this team really has. Grinder, he'll fight. He's in his 30s. He's looking for his last shot at the NHL. I get it. I think he's a good glue guy. From my understanding, he actually is fantastic in the locker room, and that can't go unnoticed. You need certain players like that. But the way this game is gone, I want speed on that fourth line. I want young guys. That's what I want. I want 4 lines of speedy, skilled players. But I'm not going to sit here and say we're not winning tonight because Chris Stewart was in the lineup. I think he does have value. I do. I think he does bring something that this team doesn't have at all. He's the only player who really has that type of playing style, and Alain Vigneault likes it, and I know Chuck Fletcher likes it too. I'm not going to scream and freak out about it. I'm not a huge fan of it either, but I'm not going to freak out about it. I see the value in him, and I can't believe I'm sitting here talking about our 1 fourth liner when our entire team tonight just looked pathetic. And, I got to look at our top guys, right? Isn't that the issue? They're not getting on the score sheet. They're not producing. Even though we were 2-1-1, our top guys are not producing. And they're going to have to produce. And our defense is going to have to play better. That's just where we are right now. Let's see how they bounce back tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you next time.